Right, so welcome back to the third video. I'm just picking up exactly where I left off in the second so we can see and understand how we can get rid of this section cut now that we no longer need it. So again, I'm just going to sort of orbit around a little bit, and just get that view back. Again, I hope you learned from the first video, but again, I might not have said if you are missing parts and missing details in the very first video, I said to go to styles, to go to edit, and to turn back those profiles on. Without them, some of you may be missing lines of information, just like I was through these pipes, right? So I actually need those to be on and done, right? So with the section cuts, I mean, we can delete them. The point is that, I personally wouldn't, because the point is if we needed to come back to that particular view, we can just turn it on and off. So here under the glasses, we're just going to go and turn the section cut off, effectively just hiding it. Right, so that's where it is because it might come back for some uncanny reason. And we're going to work on that exploded view. Now here, you'll know how important it was to group items. I've grouped it all together as one whole because I'll need that later on. But 2 clicks and I'm in, and my roof is separate to my chair, is separate to that, is separate to that, is separate to that, is separate to that. So right now, that's actually a little bit of an issue. So I'm just going to actually explode those grouped elements. What I do want though is I want to keep my roof as it is, and I'm going to engage my move tool. I'm going to zoom out quite a bit, click, and I'm going to just slide it up. Now I don't want to slide it to the side. If those dashed lines there are black, that indicates that it's going to the wrong side, that we need to move it up and it needs to be blue. If you are struggling to do that, A, you need to just be in a good point of view sometimes, or B, just hit your up arrow key. So the arrows on your keyboard, hit up and that line will turn nice and thick and blue, like that. And that forces it only in that axis. So we're just going to lift the roof straight up. Right, I do have a floor. That's good. So again, move tool, click, down, up arrow, even though we're going to go down, the up arrow generally links to the blue axis. That is good. My chair, I can just see my chair in there. Again, move tool, hit the up axis, which keeps it there. Now, if that starts happening, I might just need to stop there and get a different view, go back to move, and do carry on right there. Now, the other issue I've sort of got is, for me personally, you saw on my poster, I had this body of elements together. So it's a simple exploded view. It doesn't have to be hard out. You could, if you liked, you could, select a few of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you could click and bring them out. When you do that, it might be hard to put them back. So before I click to put them out, I might specify a distance that I remember. So you look down on the bottom of my screen, bottom right-hand side, the distance I'm pulling this out at the moment is 1.9. If I just go 2,000, then later on, I can kind of click and put them back in 2,000. For me personally, I'm just going to explode it in one direction, that is up and that is down. So I recommend that you just do the same thing. But in order for me to get this here, like these are all separate, I'm just going to drag over all of them in this view. Now remember, if I did it in this view, by the way, I'd be picking up stuff underneath it. So orbit, space bar, select those only, group. Okay. So with that done, I have separated upwards and downwards the main features of my design. And it's kind of in an order that I would assemble it. The floor, the seat, the internal, external body or walls, and the roof. So we'll notice in my poster, we are looking at only a sort of a downward view. So for this particular view, we want to get it out of perspective. So come over to the scenes. You might remember where that is and how you do that. And And here, we're just going to put it back into parallel projection, and you'll see quite a big change. So that's what we want. Because in this view, if you remember in year 9, if you've ever done planometric or axonometric, it is sort of a isometric view. Some of you will know what that is if you've done it before, and you can tell now that the parts are still too close together. So just modify it until they are a lot further apart, forcing it up. I'll hold shift to actually move these two down together, and then maybe just bump the seat up a little bit there, and then I'll go back into checking what it looks like. So we are forcing it down in a bit of a downward perspective view, and depending on how many elements your design had, you do want to make sure that the whole thing fits on the page. So I can move that down before it kind of touches there, and I can afford to actually move that seat down a bit, and this. I think it's probably all right if it's slightly overlapping. It's just that seat was quite distracting being underneath those elements. That's why I wanted to do it a bit more. And so again, we just want to zoom in, fill up the page as much as possible. That's a really good view. And we come over here, repeat, download, PNG, and by now you should know the rest of the steps to get that image. And that is our exploded view of our design. So again, just follow through those steps, make sure all your lines are turned on, because by now you should know to use the styles to edit them, to put lines on, etc. And you should now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these views.